Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for July 5th through 9th, 2021. How are you doing? The astrology continues to tell us a powerful story, a saga, and we're coming to an end of the chapter. We just have a few more days of Mercury in retrograde shadow. Now, Mercury went into retrograde shadow on May 15th. So it's kind of interesting to look back almost 2 months and what in the heck just happened? Because we had eclipse season, Mercury retrograde, all in mutable signs, Mercury and its home sign of Gemini trying to get a grip on some sort of focus and understanding and direction. Mutable signs are about adjusting, making changes, and along the way, right? But we've had so much of this energy, and it's such a bloom of this right now as we come to the completion of the Mercury retrograde with Mercury in square to Neptune. Mercury comes into its exact square with Neptune for the third and final time tomorrow, but we're going to feel this through the end of the week, through Friday. And so this is a bloom of how we've been feeling over the last year, ever since that Venus retrograde in Gemini that happened in June and July last year. So here we are. It's been a whole year of where am I going? What am I doing? My plans aren't unfolding. I'm pushing to go this way, but it's not working. And really, we've been given an opportunity to find a whole new way to navigate life. Not so ego-based, not so like I'm going to push it through and railroad my way into what I want, but work with the energies and in this co-creation. But it's a little disconcerting when you're like, everything I thought I knew and who I thought I was and where I thought I was going is all falling away. But that's a really good thing. But we're coming to the end here. Now, this is really interesting because so Mercury comes out of its retrograde shadow on Wednesday, the 7th, but we'll still feel that square Neptune for a couple more days. Now, we had 3 weeks of this square to Neptune starting in that third week of May. So this last couple of months, it's like that complete rearranging. And so we kind of got used to that in a way, but now we're coming to the end. And so what do we do now? What if clarity is trying to come? And that's definitely a possibility with the transits that are happening right now with this T-square, Mars and Venus taking turns, making a T-square with Saturn square Uranus. Now, Saturn square Uranus, Saturn Aquarius, Uranus and Taurus, fixed signs. Fixed signs are more about establishing an energy or stabilizing energy, completion. And so we're trying to complete our ego death experience and figure out how we're going. Now, because Saturn is in Aquarius, speaking to the Aquarian age, and how do we get there? What are we doing? What is this about? Square Uranus. Uranus is revolution, lightning fast change, and sudden, unexpected, vibrational energies. In Taurus, which is an earth sign, and it's about wealth and value. So revolution of wealth. This is for our world where we're recognizing that, hey, wait a minute, you can have all the money you want, but if you don't have the freedom to go use it, then if you don't have people to share it with, if you don't have connection, so we're being shown through this experience over this last year of like, what is actual wealth? Oh, health is wealth. Connection is wealth. And the invisible things of our world that mean so much more than what we've been taught to value, which is physical items. So for the SuperNova Soul, the revolution of wealth is your self-worth, your worthiness for your own gifts and skills. You came in as an advanced soul to this earth evolution and were rejected in your light and your love. And now it's time to claim that back and get back on your optimal timeline. We've had all kinds of timeline disruptions and distortions, but eventually it's all going to come back to the timeline, the way, the plucking of the strings that brings the storylines all together to resolve. And so we have this crazy combination. Now, Mars in Leo, opposite of Saturn in Aquarius. Mars wants to go. In Leo, it's about shining. It's about loving. It's about expressing. It's about the heart. And so Mars in Leo is like, let me out of these chains to express this God self within, right? And that in opposition to Saturn and Aquarius is telling us, okay, this is a building block of this new age. Now, Venus is there too. And Venus is coming right into the T-square. We're already, just in the next couple of days, we'll feel Venus coming into this T-square. Mars is just coming out of the exact of this T-square. And so Venus in the light and the expression of the divine feminine. We're really talking about the highest aspects of the masculine and the feminine as a way to overcome duality consciousness. Our whole world, the way humanity has been kept back, a big part of it is through this divide and conquer agenda, turning one against the other. Now, as an advanced soul, oftentimes you had mob mentality turn against you because you represented the light and the truth. Now, this created a situation where when you were rejected, when you were cast aside, persecuted, killed for who you were, I better not do that. I better play small. I better hide my light. And this is where we've gotten the programmed low self-worth that is in, the advanced soul. The more skills you have on a higher intuitive level, I found a correlation with lower self-worth. It makes no sense. And that's where we're at this flipping of the tables, because Black Moon Lilith is coming to the end degrees. It's at 28 degrees Taurus right now. Black Moon Lilith is it's the furthest out that the moon gets from Earth. It's the dark secrets, that dark side of the moon. Anything within our psyche, particularly around the feminine and this energy of persecution. But anything that's in there that's been hidden from us, that's like the darkest, shadowy places, right? In Taurus, we're talking about self-worth. And so it's so powerful, but it's like a bloom. It's like our insecurities. This Venus transit's peeking out here on Thursday and Friday as Venus is in this T-square. It's like all of our insecurities that have kept us playing small, right? That opportunity trying to come your way. What if these opportunities, the pathways are opening? It's going from the old paradigm is everything working against you in your light on Earth. And now it's like, hey, we see your wealth. We see your worth. We want to support you. We want to hold you. This whole experience, it's a completely new paradigm. But can you receive that? Can you allow that? Can you deserve it? And so this incredible, again, this astrology just gets more and more dramatic and powerful in the messages. It's not one aspect. You can't just take, okay, Black Moon Lilith at the end degrees of Taurus. You got to put it in with all the other things, all the other stories. And with this Venus T-square, it's like, this is the key. This is how we get into the Aquarian age. This is how we drop all this bullshit, turn the tables, and start expressing our full potential as humanity. Because as soon as we do that, it's game over for the dark side, for those forces that seek to control. And energies are changing, right? Always better, more in support. It's an organic shift towards ascension energies. Those that are blocking the ascension energies are mechanical programming, and it needs resources to keep it alive, to keep it going. And so we're at this massive turning point, and supernova souls are being asked to step on that stage into that true path and purpose, go from being cast aside, rejected, and killed and whatever, in these past lives, especially in the Piscean age, just standing tall in your truth and your light and your full. So the feeling of not being received on the earth in your light and your truth, your healing, whatever, creates a dynamic, which is everything this Black Moon Lilith, this at the end degrees of Taurus, it creates a dynamic of like you not being able to receive support You and your gifts and skills and your light and your devotion, your dedication, and all you had to go through as an advanced soul to be here on earth. And then they don't want anything to do with you, and they're going to call you the devil and burn you at the stake. Then what that creates is this low self-worth. I must have done something wrong. Right. And then that energy is it's that programming that then keeps us from being able to receive. So we've felt not received, and I'm sure this is all playing out right now with our karmic relationships and our family members and this whole divide and conquer agenda, right? Not feeling received or recognized on any level. You had a very early experience of this, a memory as an advanced soul, probably as a baby, feeling like, oh, wrong planet. What am I doing here? Who are these people? Take me home. It's going to hurt, But then that made it so that it's hard for you to receive what you need, the support you need, or any healing or anything for you can give, right? But it's like codependent. I got to give in order to not be persecuted or make them happy or do what I expect, what they need. And then I'll be accepted. And it's like, oof, throw that all out the window. Because now what we're getting, this big message is like, it's just about expressing. But we also are learning to receive our own gifts, right? So we've been rejected, so we aren't able. And then we get frustrated. Like, why don't the people around me recognize what I have to offer and want to support this? I can see now that it's so beautiful, such this beautiful gift. And it's been called weak and wrong, but it's so precious and it's so valuable in this world, right? But it's like, how can the people we're waiting around because of the fear programming to be accepted? And these people aren't going to accept you. Like that's not their job. Their job was to invalidate you over lifetimes, make sure you never came into your power, right? But this is such a deep mystery of like why it might be difficult for you to receive in life, because you never felt received as a spiritual being in your wholeness. So how can we expect those around us to receive our gifts and appreciate and love what we have to offer when we can't receive it ourselves, and when we can't value it ourselves, and when we just continue to play the doormat in order to stay safe? And those days are coming to an end, and that's what this astrology is saying. So going back to this Mercury retrograde, Mercury coming out of retrograde shadow, but it's in that square with Neptune. This has been the longest Mercury retrograde energy I've ever felt, and because of this square with Neptune. But just a few more days, just until, the end of this week. Then this square, Mars opposite Saturn square Uranus, Venus opposite Saturn square Uranus, a T-square. It's like, are we going into the new age? Or are you going to fall off the edge of the earth and go dig your head in the sand? And, we're running out of options. We're running out of choices. And we're at a turning point. Now, Uranus is so activated, and when Uranus is activated, it's a good time to receive messages and connection to your higher self, synchronicities, information coming in. So it's a really powerful energy, having this tension square pushing us around the corner in our life, pushing us into going from hiding and playing small. Maybe the people around you can't receive you because you've never shared. And now we're being pushed out into the light, and it feels vulnerable. And it's bringing up all those dark vulnerabilities. But that T-square coming at the same time as Mercury coming out of retrograde shadow, we've been in a confusing time of rearranging everything in our psyche. But now it's time to pay attention and listen and be present with the messages and the support that's coming in to help you turn the corner. You're here to lead the way, to be that pioneer. Because why? You've already gone through spiritual ascension on other dimensional energies, experiences before you came to Earth. You might not remember it consciously, but you have it within you. We're definitely in a very busy astral time right now. A lot of work happening on the astral plane. You might need extra sleep. It's like all this stuff is happening on visible levels and other dimensional levels, what we haven't been able to access. But as more truth comes out into the world, it's all going to start distilling through. It's like that place that we've been talking about when all the divergent storylines at the end of the movie fold back in and start to make sense. So be present, because what if your life is about to make sense? What if it's been making no sense for a whole year and many lifetimes perhaps, and it's just about to finally make sense? And it's interesting because it's like cents, like dollars and cents, like sense. This is you and your big potential, your sense. That's your wealth, your intuitive abilities, your connection, your authenticity, your showing up and your presence and your truth. And we are being called out of the shadows and into the light. So it's like there's a light at the end of the tunnel of your life. And are you ready to step into it? And the only thing maybe that's holding us back is, do we think we deserve it? And then that's all tied into the fear programming, that as you step out into freedom, this is such a huge energy right now as we've celebrated Independence Day in the US this weekend, energy of sovereignty, that humanity is sovereign. Each human individually, sovereign. The highest form of life is consciousness, human consciousness in a human body connected to that consciousness and aware. Now, there's all these other energies and beings that nothing we've been able to be told about that have been completely manipulating our DNA and our evolution. But that's only until we realize we're sovereign. And then this is such a huge energy right now, because it's like, as long as we feel unworthy, how can we claim our sovereignty, right? And then how do you actively, practically say, okay, I no longer consent to the manipulations. I want my astral time back. I want my sleep back. I want the implants gone. I want to be pure in my organic expression of humanness. And I rule, because now I remember and I know that I'm sovereign. And so this is such a huge energy right now. And that's what we've been feeling for this last couple of days. Yesterday was the exact of the Sun square Chiron, Sun in Cancer, square to Chiron in Aries. Chiron in Aries, the wounds over where we have given away our life force. And this is everything, right? If we're not sovereign and we don't have control over our own reality and we can't handle our own power, then we're going to give it away. And this Sun in Cancer is like, can we nurture ourselves back into our own life force? Because if you read between the lines of this situation in our world right now, it's like all control mechanisms are based on taking away freedoms and disconnecting us from our own life force, represented by the immune system. And that's our power. That's representational of our power and our sovereignty. And so what a beautiful picture of one by one, and maybe then big groups of people empowered together through beautiful group events to claim their sovereignty in a real way. Psychic sovereignty. Out of the lower matrix grid, out of the DNA programming. And this is what I see health-wise too. DNA programming that's been affecting us throughout our evolution to keep humanity down is travels through the ancestral lineages, right? And then manifests as hereditary disease. I see people dropping layers of hereditary disease, which means dropping all the programming. And of course, the control energy is doing everything to try to keep whole. But what if it's just going to take one or two more people, souls, and maybe a little group at a gathering to really know, to have that light go on, and to know that we have sovereignty, that we are the highest form of life, and that it's almost that whole thing of like, we got to know we've been manipulated in order to get out of victim, right? It's got to you got to validate the victim to get out of victimhood. You got to say, oh, that happened. Okay, I see the source of this abuse. Now I can heal, right? There's nothing that can't be healed. But if it's hidden in the shadows, unless it's hidden in the shadows. And that's exactly this Black Moon Lilith coming to the end degrees. Are you ready to drop all of your unworthiness? How can you do that? You're a particle of God. Have you checked out this world? Have you checked out the power that the earth that regenerates herself again and again, all the medicine that she brings, all of the amazing adaptability of the human organism, the empathy. Part of the reason we have so much attention on us by other race beings and stuff is because the human capacity to feel. Now, this human capacity to feel because of all we've gone through in the fall of our whole evolution and coming back into consciousness, huge range of emotional energies. And that is something rare and beautiful. It's another invisible gift, right? The wealth of our world is invisible. And so this range of emotionality, this empathy of human, has been used to control humanity as well. That's part of the Piscean age, that religious feeling of connection used to control people. But we can also use this power of human feeling to exit the matrix and to vision and dream and co-create our new world and step up onto that ideal timeline. This is this energy right now. We haven't really felt the completion of eclipse season because of this Mercury retrograde. We haven't felt the completion of the Mercury retrograde because of the square with Neptune. Now it's the end of that chapter. And what's at the end of that chapter? A period, like a boom, a marker, a page, like a blank page. Oh, that explains why we've been so confused. We're on the blank page between chapters, right? Between shift of ages. And so this is such an important time to be present and be open to the messages that want to come through, to the clarity, to that feeling of like, we've been in this place of like, I really want to go this, it doesn't feel right. It's not working. And I push. It just makes it worse. It's all sticky and I'm confused and forget it, But what if that ultimate clarity comes through, that just you feel the lining up? Oh, yeah. We've been waiting a long time for this. And what if it's right around the corner, but it's all tied into your feeling of worthiness for your own gifts, for your own life force, for your own God-given rights. This is what this is all about. Whether or not we have those rights because of existing, right? Now, existence that's the energy of Aries. It's like the spark of creation, existence. And that's that wounds of Chiron is being disconnected from the spark of life. And that's where we're at. Are we going to go succumb and become zombies? Or are we going to live, really, really live? What are we doing here? Why bother? This is what the SuperNova Soul, right? Like looking at the supernova birth chart, there's often this energy of completion. Like, oh yeah, I want to complete my karma here. I have a lot on my plate. I'm going to like bring all these things, these divergent range of gifts and skills together in this lifetime. And it's like, well, that is great to complete your karma and feel that, but that's not what you came for. You came for full expression. You can't get out of this trap, right? Of this earth quarantine. That's how you get out. You shine. And how powerful to have this Mars T-square with the generational planets energy is of like, how do we get in the new age? Mars T-square. Let's go. Come on. What's in the way? Venus T-square. Oh, our insecurities and our playing small. Now, how crazy that this is okay, because this Saturn Uranus square is on and off all year long. But with these bigger planets, you don't really feel them until our personal planets come into contact. And that's what's going on. First Mars, then Venus, and then Mars and Venus coming together in the sign of Leo. Visible in the night sky with the crescent moon. That's a couple of days after the new moon in Cancer. So on Friday, there's a new moon in Cancer. Friday, Saturday, and then right after that is when Mars and Venus come together visible in the night sky. Now, the last big visible event we had was in December with that greater conjunction. A lot of people looking up into the sky who never ever look in the sky, right? And this is now our personal planets conjuncting, but in relationship to that Saturn square Uranus. So speaking to, how do we get around this corner into the new age? Oh, a revolution of wealth, a revolution of self-worth. And how do we do that? We express and shine. Now, Leo is heart-centered. It's like the heart, the love, so much love, right? And so the energy of this is, with Mars and Venus represents duality consciousness, right? It's a masculine, the feminine, and they've been pit against each other, just like colors and races and sex and different, religious groups. This is how we've been kept from our power in the collective energies, is divide and conquer, but also within, right? Constantly angry at ourselves, constantly arguing with ourselves in the mind, in the monkey mind, right? And the consciousness that we need to move into is our heart consciousness. The heart is an organ of oneness. We have conscious cells in our heart. That's the power of the emotion to get back into this devotion and excitement and expression of the potential of human, which is the God potential. And so Leo is about the shining, expressing, coming into, this unconditional love and inspiration, creation energy. And so how beautiful to have our opposite planets representing. It's like we've been in a bad divorce, right? And now we have to come back into the sacred marriage within in order to access our heart consciousness. And this is what the astrology is saying. It's like, yeah, it's time. We're supporting you now in this. The energies are supporting you now in this. And it's a brand new start with a new moon in Cancer. Absolutely completing the retrograde cycle this whole last year, since Venus retrograde in Gemini. And then when Mercury moves over into Cancer, Mercury moves into Cancer right there on the 12th of July, 11th, 12th of July. And so a big shift here in the Cancer new moon coming up. It's like a new start, because we've been in a whole year long clusterfuck of energy. And it's like a new start, but with nurturing the new, but nurturing the full expression of our masculine and our feminine. One doesn't take away from the other. No more of this tit for tat, got to go outside yourself to get what you need. It's about the full expression, the balance, the perfect balance between the masculine and the feminine is when they both shine bright, and the power of love that overcomes all. Love is God power, and our hearts are opening and overcoming all, right? So there's a lot of these little energies with the square energies. There's always this blocking kind of feel, especially with Saturn, but it's like, what happens when so SuperNova Souls have all kind of had to, in order to protect yourself, and because of all you've gone through, your heart has been closed. And a lot of relationships you thought were love and intimacy were not. They were really about control, because you think control is love because that's all you've known. Now we're coming into the power of unconditional love and how it can overcome all. Love wins. God wins. And we have this huge, as an advanced soul, part of the way you're here to lead the way is this heart organ. It's like our potential in our heart, and the love that we can find in the full expression of ourselves as that particle of God, which is our own unique individual expression. It's fun. It's a celebration. Our work, it's going from work being like the spiritual work of the SuperNova Soul being like, oh, I'm processing, I'm feeling everything, I'm stuck down here in the, whoa, and I'm sacrificing for humanity, right? And it's like, no. Now your work is play. Leo is the child too. It's like play, celebrate. That's what brings more God energy to the planet, and creation energy is when we live and breathe in that. It's a celebration, and when we're happy, God's happy, and God is so happy, we're happy, and we're just celebrating life force together. And so this is so beautiful. And so we've got this Friday, the new moon in Cancer, and those squares will be coming right then. The Mars square will be coming off, the Venus square will be coming off, the new moon in Cancer, and then Venus Mars conjunction. Use this energy to just completely escape the matrix. And you do that by shining, by loving, by opening your heart more. That energy is just, it's like what the negative forces and this little battle and all these deception and lies that we're living in right now. It's so much about bringing you down to a place of hopelessness and lack of power. But you have the power, you have the wealth. You are an advanced soul in human body, connected into your authenticity, and you haven't lost it. You haven't lost this connection to your soul. And now it's time to activate this big organ of heart consciousness you didn't even know you had, and just love your way through. What if you're a bulldozer of love and you could just love your way through everything? And it doesn't mean being a doormat and taking a bunch of bullshit. But that light is shining so bright that nothing negative can come at you. Nothing can even, the light is shining so bright, all the attention goes out, and a force field is created. Huge energies here. We've had just this last week, we had this lining up of all the planets and the stars, creating these beautiful transits, so many sweet transits going at the same time. When Venus and Mars come together, exact on the 13th, but we'll be seeing them in the sky. You want to watch it from the 11th to the 13th in the evening sky, not too long after the sun goes down in most of the world. There you'll see them. And the crescent moon, the brand new crescent moon, when you can just see it, will be near them. And so this is a beautiful, beautiful picture of a new start of nurturing ourselves, humans, back into our light and our expression, and so right at that time, we'll be beginning to feel the sun in Cancer in trine to Neptune. This is about miracles. It's about feeling that God presence right there with you all the time. And that's who you are, right? But I mean, just walking with the masters, being in the light of revelation, being that cup of God energy, being the receiving. Cancer is about receiving and about mothering and nurturing. So it's like receiving back the cup of God. It's like, because we talked about how we can't get out of the Piscean age and the nightmare of the persecution unless we receive back that mystical spiritual revelation. But this is the thing. We still got this matrix bullshit we're dealing with somewhat. And that matrix bullshit is all about blocking the spiritual messages and inspiration and revelation. But you were there at the last shift of ages. You had a direct experience of miracles and healing and light and truth and I can't even, this is what it's feel like to be alive. This is what it's supposed to feel like. Wow. As a conscious soul, aware of itself as God consciousness, ecstatic existence. Now you've already experienced that. So what if the masses way, like one of the ways that this mystical revelation energy, since it's being so blocked from our connection in our guidance and, with the ceiling that we're in, but they can't block it from here, right? And what if that's what it's about? You were there at the shift of ages last time. You experienced direct revelation of Christ consciousness, of the light of God, of the truth of what we're doing here. You can feel it in your body as I talk. I can feel it. You might not know what that is. That's this God code, this miracle. You experienced this. That miracle is more real than any of this shit of this life we're living. And you have direct access because you experience it. So we got to stop reaching out there for the signs and the symbols and the tell me I'm doing it right and the spiritual validation. You are the spiritual validation of this evolution. You have access to the miracles right here. We don't need, go ahead, block out the sun. Here we go. Mars, Venus conjunction in Leo. We got it all right here. Go ahead, block it out. We're just going to find it stronger within. And then we are that sun. We are the illuminators. We are the ones that say, hi, love wins. I'm not taking your bullshit, but I'm also not going to drop to your level. Done that. Been there, done that. Enough of that. So we're writing a new story. We are at the end of the chapter. It's the end of the sentence. It's the blank page. Are you ready to rewrite your life? What if the only thing that's keeping you from doing that is feeling worthy of support, being able to receive the love that you are, so that can just waterfall out of your heart and into the world as we power through this crazy last stage of this particular part of the story, which has to do with getting over this hump of truth disclosure. And so put on your armor of God, be in the light, be your protection. Your light is its own protection when you're expressing, and the more the energies around you are not receiving the energy, the more that should tell you, okay, I'm going to express more. Because that whole dynamic of waiting around because you've been persecuted and then you play small. It's like waiting around for somebody to say, oh, come on, honey, get out of the corner. It's okay now. They're not going to do it. How long have you been waiting for these people in your life to recognize who you are so you can be who you are? It's never going to happen. That's not their job. They actually were working on an agenda to keep you from knowing who you are. And so massive turning point and really powerful energies with that Sun trine Neptune, Venus conjunct Mars. And then we also have Pluto at 23 degrees or 25 degrees in sextile to Neptune at 23 degrees. So powerful. Neptune sextiles, creative solutions. So we've got Sun trine Neptune, Pluto sextile Neptune. As the square with Neptune comes off, now we can receive, we've been in the fog and lost and looking, and the map is broken, and we got to use our intuition and try to find the road. But now we found the treasure, the hidden treasure right here in our own heart. So really, really powerful there. And then we also have Chiron in Aries in trine to Mars. That's been exact the last couple of days, and we're still feeling that this week for the next couple of days. And a really sweet energy of Mars is like, hey, you got to get out of the wounds around losing your life force. How you do that and get out from under the rock you've been put, the burden you've been carrying, is to start to express your gifts and skills again. And that light is that bulldozer moving everything out of your way. So maybe this is the energy of the Saturn rearranging for the Aquarian age, because Saturn in the Capricorn or in the Piscean age, and the Saturn in Capricorn we felt in the last couple of years was all about limitations and restrictions and working against. And now it's like, this is where the sovereignty and autonomy thing comes in, because it's like, well, if I'm sovereign and autonomous, I don't need you. I don't need that force to work against me anymore. I'm no longer scared of my power. I'm ready to move into the next chapter of creating the structures that can support the health and healing of humanity as we move forward into the new age. So massive, massive turning point. And are you ready? Can you receive your own bounty, your own abundance? Uranus and Taurus is about a revolution of wealth. That's about abundance, and that you are so abundant. And yet we've all been playing small. We've all been hiding scared. We're all surrounded by souls that can't recognize who we are because that's just not what they're here to do. They're here to invalidate. So we can't wait for that external validation. This is the message. Don't wait for the mystical revelation for God to come talk to you, because you are the voice of God. As you purify all the work you've been doing, it's all about to pay off huge. So that's part of the energy of the sun coming into opposition. We're going to be feeling that at the middle of the month, is the sun in Cancer opposite Pluto, and coming face to face where where we have allowed ourselves to be controlled through power structures and fear of our own power, and overcoming that and stopping waiting around for something to show us how powerful we are, or to have some sort of external experience to prove spiritual energy. You are the living proof. And you have it within you, and you know that. And this has been your whole problem all along. And it's about time you start to feel better. And the only way you do that is by bringing forward this fruit that's been within you. It's laden on the vine. It's heavy. It's a burden, only until you start to work with it. And then fun, excitement, and every day a new discovery. So massive turning point. Pay attention. We also have Saturn in sextile to Chiron, and that is a really sweet energy too, of being like, hey, we build in the Aquarian age by getting over our wounds of losing our life force. As long as we're there whining about it being taken from us instead of claiming it back. They never had a right to it. They never had a right to it. It's yours by birthright. And this is the really powerful message of this time, and everything conspiring together to help us move on, get in. This is divine timeline, right? This is the ramifications of those eclipses. This is like, okay, I've been totally going, I can see this picture of like being somebody blindfolding us. That was kind of what this whole last year has been about, and going through the maze, and everywhere you try to go, it's a dead end. And it's like, I can't see where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, where I'm even trying to get to. Maybe I should just sit, be still. And now the blindfold's coming off and the light is shining at the end of the tunnel, and we got to be ready to roll. And that's with your expression. So you might not know who you are. What do you have inside to express? You have this heaviness. You have something to offer. And it's almost like we can't even figure out who we are and what we have to offer until we start expressing that energy. And that just seems to be about the love in our heart that can overcome all obstacles, where we can just see that darkest thing expressing out there and be like, okay, that's in my world. And now I'm bringing the light to it. I'm bringing the love to it within myself, in those deep, dark, shadowy places within where I bought into this story, and without too. And that's my armor of God. I'm putting it on, and I'm going to start to move forward now, right? Start to move forward, create new ways. And how about a joyful discovery and ecstatic celebration with connection with like-minded souls that are just right there with you. They're right there with you, even though you might not feel them in your everyday life. But we're doing it, and we're here together. So great work. And thank you so much for your support. And if you're interested in joining the SuperNova Soul Tribe, that's a great way to support this work and these messages, bringing your energy. It's $9.99 a month, $10 a month, and that gets you exclusive updates, question and answer sessions, and event discounts. So check it out at supernovasouls.com. The information to sign up is in the information box below. You can also just offer straight up donations. Information is there as well. But thank you so much for your support and being present, receiving these messages, and letting them distill as we all become our own homeopathic remedy for the times. And so light and love is the answer. Love conquers all. Your heart is trying to open. Now, when we open our heart, we can find some deep, dark, hidden pain, ancestral energies, grief, generations of grief. So that's part of the sun in Cancer and moving those energies, right? Because we don't want to stay closed and suppressed. We want to break that open. The armor of God isn't the armor of our heart. It's the activated heart that emanates light, so much light that people are taken from it's almost like that rat in the maze that we felt like going up against the wall and never getting anywhere. That's because you're going backwards. Because it's the only way because that's how they've kept our evolution back. And what happens if somebody just, it's like this force in this T-square wants to turn us around and take the blindfold off and be like, there you go on. Just get started and everything will be better. And so just be open to that mystical revelation within and the guidance and the support coming from without. And let's get on with the story. It'll be interesting to see. So more information coming about that new moon in Cancer, great turning point for all of us. Isn't it time for us to come back into our power as humans, the power of our emotions and our feeling, to bring us back to that love that conquers all, and connection, human connection, sharing that love, being the remedy for these times in your existence, and finding that peace within, that you're on your path, you're doing it, you made it, and you are a rock star. So thank you so much for being here, being you, making through it all, and standing tall in the light. And let's see what happens. So I look forward to seeing you soon. And there will be an activation. I'll get information out about that on Friday for that new moon. So new moon activation in Cancer, as we have this epic lining up of astrology, healing the division within, breaking open the sacred heart organ of consciousness, and setting us free into that next chapter, the divine timeline. So thanks for being here. I look forward to seeing you soon for that new Cancer new moon activation. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.